Hey guys, in today's video I'll be doing mainly a really big tropical update on Invest 98L, which is the NHC is currently monitoring in the Caribbean, and it has a very high chance of development now, with an 80 to 90% chance of development over the next 2 to 5 days. The National Hurricane Center says it's a tropical wave located over the central Caribbean Sea that continues to produce a large area of showers and thunderstorms. Satellite imagery indicates that the disturbance is gradually becoming better organized, and a tropical depression will likely form within the next couple of days as it moves slowly westward over the central and western Caribbean Sea. So, by the way, of course, we still have, just real quick, we still have Tropical Storm Eta and Tropical Storm Theta, both of which, especially Eta, is dying out and is starting to become fully history. Theta will really last only for the next few days and then start to finally dissipate and become history. But both of them aren't really that much of an impact to land much anymore, so we're gonna really just start to disregard both these systems now and really just focus on Invest 98L. So if we look at the 5-day graphical tropical weather outlook, you can see this is the area where 98L has the best potential to develop into a tropical system. And you can see the development zone has 98L moving farther west, continuing to move west, and getting closer to, again, that Nicaragua, Honduras coastline, pretty much around the same exact area where Eta made landfall as a very powerful Category 4 hurricane at 140 miles per hour, and really just devastated those areas with torrential, devastating amounts of rainfall and storm surge. So it's really not a good sign whatsoever that this may be happening again, just quite soon after Eta. So yeah, it's really troubling. Now, let's go to Tropical Tidbits, and let's look at how Invest 98L is looking on the satellite imagery loop. And you can see the system has, generally, you can see still, it has starting to get that somewhat of a rotation starting to go on with decent amounts of convection going on with itself, with the system right now around the center. Now you can see it's still being somewhat sheared on the western part of this, but as it continues slowly to move to the west, it will continue to start to enter a much more conducive environment where the wind shear will really relax, and it will have pretty much everything Eta had to really try to develop into a strong tropical system. That is what it's looking like on the satellite imagery. I believe also it seems to potentially be starting to form somewhat of a low-level center, so that's very interesting. I do think that it's starting to look a bit more likely that we may see this system become a tropical depression by tomorrow even, though of course if not, likely Saturday, because it looks likely that it will become a tropical system either tomorrow, which is Friday, or Saturday, so we'll have to see what happens with that. Now let's look at the hurricane model track guidance. You can see all of the hurricane models in general take the system continuing to the west and really generally show it going more and making landfall or hanging out around this, getting near the Honduras coastline. And if it were to make landfall, a lot of them have it making landfall around that central and southern Honduras coastline down near towards the border of Honduras and Nicaragua. And then there are a couple that keep it farther north and keep it over the warm waters of the Caribbean and start to curve it more towards the north and east, closer towards the Yucatan. So we'll have to really watch that. There's definitely the potential that 98L could either go a good bit farther north and kind of do what both these two models are showing, which is both the HWRF model and HMOD models are kind of showing it going much farther north, closer towards the Yucatan, and staying well over the waters of the warm Western Caribbean and the warm waters of the Caribbean, or it could kind of go a good bit farther south, and do more of what all the rest of the models are showing, and most likely impact or make landfall in Honduras, or this general area here. So we'll have to really watch that very, very closely. Here's what the GEFS ensemble model track guidance is showing. Generally kind of the same thing, showing the system also really strengthening, especially as it starts getting closer towards the Nicaragua, Honduras area, just like Iota did. So that's not a good sign either whatsoever. Now here is the GEPS ensemble model track guidance. This is the CMC ensemble model track guidance. The CMC or GEPS ensemble model track guidance shows 98L continuing to move to the west, just like what the general hurricane model track guidance was showing and the GEFS ensemble model track guidance was showing, but shows it much weaker and making more of a landfall and more of a bigger impact towards Belize and Guatemala and this general area farther inland of the northern Central America. So that's very interesting. So we'll really have to, again, keep an eye on 98L, because it kind of generally could go anywhere. It could go north of Central America and not really impact Central America much, or it could really impact Central America, but depending where, we'll have to see in Central America. This is the most concerning thing I want to show you guys, really, from this. And you can see that this is the model intensity guidance. This is a new model intensity guidance for Invest 98L. This is an 18Z run. And you can see most of the models are, in fact, thinking, like what the National Hurricane Center is also generally thinking, that the system could get to tropical depression, tropical storm status going into tomorrow, and then really strengthening from there, and even getting to hurricane status potentially as soon as maybe around 2.5 to 3 days out from now. So it's all relatively soon, and then a majority of the models have it getting towards Category 2, maybe even Category 3 status. The HMNI model is showing it really strengthen and become a Category 4, even maybe Cat 5 hurricane. So that's very, very concerning. And that's very insane, too, really, when you just think about it in general, because we're in about the middle portion of November, and the kind of the hurricane models and the tropical cyclone models are all hinting at potentially showing intensity of this tropical cyclone currently, of getting extremely strong, even getting towards, like the major hurricane, or even up towards that end of the scale at Cat 5. So that's very, very, very concerning, and we're really going to have to watch that extremely closely. So lots of concerning things to monitor with Invest 98L. Now, I want to show you what the GFS model is showing for 98L. I want to show you what the CMC model is showing for 98L. And then I want to show you what the European model is showing for 98L, and what the HWRF and H mod are showing for 98L. So I'm going to show you five forecast models, and show you what each of them are thinking for what 98L could do. So first, we're starting out with the GFS model, and here's 98L with that big lug of moisture, and you can see that low pressure center starts to form there. And then continues to the west, as all of the models show, and all the forecasts are generally showing as of right now. And then you can see the GFS really strengthens it as it starts getting much closer towards Honduras, and shows it getting all the way down to the 960s for millibars for the pressure, and then hitting Honduras and bringing very, very heavy rainfall there again, just like Iota did. Which is not a good sign whatsoever. So that's really concerning. But then GFS shows 98L just hitting Central America there in Honduras and just dying out from there. So that's what the GFS model is showing. Now let's show you what the CMC model is showing. Again, here's the moisture associated with Invest 98L. And as we move it forward, you can see the CMC model shows it much, much weaker, and shows it also hitting Honduras and dying out over Central America as well. But don't really pay much attention to the CMC model, because it's really just not a good model, and has not been a good model whatsoever this year for tropical systems for this year's hurricane season. So don't really pay too much attention whatsoever to that. Here's the European model, and here is the vorticity being shown for Invest 98L, and as we move forward in time, you can see that vorticity really starts to strengthen and become a lot more well-defined, and then the European model shows it hitting a good bit farther south than what the GFS and even CMC model is showing, and hitting more around the pretty much the border of Honduras and Nicaragua. So that's very interesting. We'll also have to really keep an eye on that. Now, let's show you, this is the biggest, one of the two more important models I want to show you. Here's what I'm going to show you. First, I'm going to show you what the HWRF model is showing for Invest98L, and then I'll show you what the HMON model is showing for Invest98L. Both models have been, just to remind you guys, both of these models have been fantastic this year for forecasting the intensity of a lot of the strongest tropical cyclones we've seen this year's hurricane season. So here's we gotta change it to what, radar? Yeah. So here we go. So here's what the HWRF model is showing for Invest98L. Bringing it out forward in time, getting towards now. This is Friday. This is going towards tomorrow. Again, you can see Friday. This is what I've been saying. Friday looks like it's really going to start getting its act together going into tomorrow, and we could see it really become a tropical depression, tropical storm by tomorrow. And then you can see moving forward into Saturday, Sunday, it really starts to intensify, really rapidly intensifies there. We got 954 millibars already by, let's see, this is around 8 p.m. on Monday evening, so that's very interesting. And then you can see moving it forward in time shows it again. Both the HWRF and HMON models, I want to remind you guys, both show it the farthest north and not really impacting those areas of Central America like Honduras, Nicaragua, which is definitely a really good thing, but then shows it really strengthened, becoming a very strong system, and starts showing moving more towards the north and east, getting closer towards the Yucatan. So that's potentially then what we're really gonna have to watch if 98L does do that. We'll have to really watch and see what the system potentially would do to the Yucatan if it were to go farther north and not hit those areas of Central America that Ada already really impacted. So that's what the HWRF model is showing. Very, very concerning. Shows the 98L. By the way, getting down to around 948, 950 millibars. So pretty strong system as well, showing it kind of around category 4 somewhat, around a low to mid-range category 4 or so. So that's still a pretty strong major system, so it's really concerning again. Now I'll show you what the HMON is showing for Invest98L. And here it is. Here's the HMON model, and bring it forward in time. The HMON model has a system, it seems, taking its time a little bit more to try and get its act together to become a tropical depression, tropical storm, but it does seem like maybe tomorrow, maybe it'll take a little longer in the day through tomorrow for it to really start to get towards that tropical depression, tropical storm status. But then it shows getting into showing into Saturday, Sunday, especially Sunday, getting into Monday. You can see it shows the system really strengthening and really really strengthening, just showing also generally kind of the same track or so that the HWRF model is showing, and shows the system really bottoming out and really strengthening, getting towards this upcoming Tuesday, which is only 5 days away from now. So that's pretty close in range to now. So even showing this at 936 millibars, this 98L getting down to like 936 millibars, which would be a pretty damn strong category 4 hurricane. That's really not out of the question whatsoever. So again, I really want to emphasize to you guys that this storm, just like Ada, honestly, has a really high ceiling, as they say, quote-unquote ceiling, on how strong it can get in intensity. So we're really going to have to monitor how the system progresses moving forward in time, between especially now and getting into early next week. So that's really concerning again. And in fact, I want to go back and show you the GFS model, and I want to show you though I want to show you the I want to go to the Western Caribbean again, and I want to show you guys the wind shear. Where is the wind shear? Here. Here's the wind shear. I want to show you guys. Here's 98L. And you can see, bring it forward in time. So there's that low pressure center for 98L, and you can see the wind shear is really going to relax and not become much of a problem for 98L, really, according to the models. The GFS model shows it going into a pretty weak wind shear environment, so that's pretty concerning. Let's see. Let's see. I want to see if the European model, does it show wind shear? No, it doesn't. But yeah, we're really gonna have to monitor the system because it's gonna be moving into a very low wind shear and very conducive environment as it continues to track west into the central part of the Caribbean. So yeah, this is gonna be a very, very concerning, very dangerous and important system to track, and I'll keep you guys up to date moving forward throughout the rest of this week into next week. But in the meantime, let's go and show you guys the 2020 Atlantic Hurricane Season Wikipedia page. And we've had, again, a very record-breaking, insanely active Atlantic hurricane season. This is the most active Atlantic hurricane season officially on record in terms of number of named storms. It has featured a total of 30 depressions, 29 total named storms, record high, B20, so far beat 2005 as of now by one named storm. Now we'll bump it up to beating 2005 by two named storms with what will likely become Iota. That's the next name on the list. That's what 98L will eventually be named moving into tomorrow or Saturday. And then we've had a total of 12 hurricanes, 5 major hurricanes. This may be a little too far out to say for sure at the moment, but I think, at least for the moment, I can more or less decently strongly enough say that I think 98L is, and confidently say that 98L will become our 13th hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season, and even potentially could become our 6th major hurricane of the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season. We'll have to really keep an eye on that, but there is that potential. So that's pretty insane, because if that were to occur and 98L does in fact become a major hurricane, that would make the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season become within one major hurricane away from tying 2005 for record most amount of major hurricanes ever in a hurricane season. So that's quite insane, especially with all the other records the 2020 Atlantic hurricane season has broken and everything. So just truly insane. Again, here's a timeline of all of the tropical cyclones we've had this year. We've had through Theta. It's insane. Gone through a ton of names on the Greek alphabet. And they've even added on December here at the end of the timeline, because with how active the Atlantic hurricane season still is and just it's showing no signs of stopping, honestly, who knows? We could see the activity continue and persist enough to where we could see some named storms occur in December. We'll have to see, but it's starting to seem somewhat possible that could occur, with the fact that the Atlantic Basin is really not slowing down with spurting out all these systems one after the other. The total A so far this hurricane season is at around 158.93 units. We are in a hyperactive Atlantic hurricane season, no doubt, especially just looking at how much activity we've had alone. So it's just truly insane. Again, Ada has Ada, I think, definitely got to Category 5 status. So Ada definitely did get to Category 5 status. It caused around, as of right now, around or maybe a bit more than $5.191 billion in damage. Killed at least 157 people. So it's been a quite deadly and quite damaging storm. Definitely the deadliest tropical cyclone we've had this year's hurricane season, and one of the most damaging tropical cyclones we've had this year's hurricane season. Theta won't likely impact any areas, kill anyone, cause any damage, which thankfully that is the case. That's really great, honestly, since we've had so many damaging storms and just insane amount of damaging storms, honestly, this year's hurricane season. But 98L, there's the potential that 98L, which will likely become Iota quite soon, could also be another, once again, damaging and deadly and destructive storm. So we'll really have to somewhere, maybe the same kind of Central American areas as that Ada affected, or maybe maybe areas a bit farther north of where Ada affected. We'll have to see. Ada affected, we'll really have to see. We'll really have to keep an eye on 98L, and I'll continue to keep you guys up to date and up to speed with everything going on with 98L, because this storm is really going to be something to really monitor very, very closely. Again, Iota is the next name on the list, and that's the name likely what 98L will get once it gets to a tropical storm status, likely by maybe later tomorrow or Saturday. And then Kappa is the next name, and then Lambda and Mu. With the fact that the hurricane season honestly shows no signs of stopping, even though it's November, we might still get another few more names down in the record books. So that's pretty crazy stuff, honestly. So again, really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This has been my update on Invest 98L. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. If hopefully you found it informative, enjoyable. If you did, please consider liking the video, commenting on the video. If you're a first-time viewer and you like what you saw in today's video, if you like tropical content, I do all kinds of content. I do tons of that content on my channel, so please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.